Bob Baffert's return to the Kentucky Derby. Is it good or bad for horse racing? Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host. It's been 3 years, yes, 3 years since Bob Baffert was last seen competing in the Kentucky Derby 2021 before being hit by CDI Churchill Downs Incorporated with a suspension for his winner, who was eventually taken down, Medina Spirit, in 2021. Bob Baffert served his suspension for a gel that had a substance in there that was over the legal limit for the Derby. So rules are rules. So Bob Baffert took the suspension. Medina Spirit would go on to compete in the Preakness, finishing third. So it's been 3 years. Bob initially was a 2-year suspension. The CDI felt that he didn't show enough remorse for the infraction and extended his extension to 3 years. So now, at the end of 2024, heading to the 2025, now that suspension has been lifted and Bob Baffert is cleared to run in the Kentucky Derby. Is that good or bad for horse racing? What about Medina Spirit for a minute? I believe he would have won that race even without the gel. It's not like he was injected. And just had the perfect circumstances, a fast track, the good early speed, a Hall of Fame jockey set up, and the early speed prevailed in that race. But that's here nor there. Horse racing, everybody has an opinion, and they're all over the place. That's one of the beauties of horse racing. But Bob Baffert's back. Is that good or bad for horse racing? A lot of people say that Bob Baffert fans and people worldwide, they recognize Bob as the face, trainer-wise anyway, of horse racing in America. And, of course, the Kentucky Derby, the biggest race in the world, most watched race. Bob, you ask any American or anybody that knows anything about horse racing, and even many who don't, if you think of horse racing, or if you think of a horse, who's the first horse racing trainer that comes to mind? Almost everybody will say Bob Baffert. Now, is it good or bad? He's back, right? His fans, of course, they say it's great. There are others, detractors, Bob Baffert. They're against him. They don't want to see him there. It's almost like the evil empire coming back. He's just so dominant. You see that in sports around the place, Bill Belichick and football, different players. You got certain people that just don't want them there. And some trainers that don't want them there because they know their chances of winning the odds of them winning go way down when you have Bob, who wins so many Kentucky Derbies, right? What about TV ratings? Can you go by them to judge if it's good for horse racing or not? TV ratings go up and down every year. They fluctuate. It might depend on the horse. It might depend on interest. People are going to watch the Kentucky Derby, whether Bob Baffert is there or not. By the way, last year's Kentucky Derby was the highest rated in years, the 2024 Kentucky Derby. You'll be curious to see what it is this year. As far as the positive, Bob, he returned to Churchill Downs with his first return to Churchill Downs. He brought a 2-year-old there named Barnes to compete, and he said, it's my return back. I want to bring a special horse here for this race, and he did. Now Barnes, a $3.2 million auction, went for $3.2 million in auction. Turns around and Bob's win in this horse's Colt's first race of its career, wins with a 98 Equibase figure, chased a wicked pace by the second choice. Bob went off at under even money. Next choice was at 3.9, almost 4-1. Now the second choice set wicked fractions, 21-9 opening quarter, 44-7. First 2 calls, and Bob's horse hung in there and won, I believe, by a nose. Anyway, set at 98 Equibase figure, and probably going to be Bob's top choice unless something goes off course with Barnes. Because in the futures pool, the Kentucky Derby futures pool, Barnes is open as the favorite as among those with experience at 13-1. So Bob gets this one, takes this one, runs it, gives Barnes experience on the track, opens up undefeated, big speed figure, expensive horse. Anyway, probably will be pointed to the Derby. And so Barnes, if he does make the Derby, will have at least raced on the track and won there. And they asked Bob, what was his experience like? And this is pictured from an interview afterwards when Bob competed at the Derby. What type of reception did he receive? He was welcomed with open arms there. I'm going to put a link to the video down below so you can see this interview with Bob yourself. As you can see, the people there interviewing him were all smiles. He loved the facility. He thought they've done some tremendous improvements over at Churchill Downs, and he was really excited to be back. So all was good. Everybody's happy, and he served his suspension. We'll have to wait and see, take a wait and see approach. I'll put a poll out there posing the same question here as the name of this video. Is Bob Baffert's return, is it good or bad for horse racing? So you can weigh in on that. Again, that'll be in the community sections of All Horse Racing All the Time webpage. So, weigh in. What do you think? Put some comments if you have a reason, whether good or bad, if Bob's return to Kentucky Derby is good for horse racing, or if it's bad and why, in the comments area down below in the video. Feedback's always appreciated. I'm curious what people have to say about this, especially as a whole, because what I have seen as somebody who covers horse racing for years now is the vast majority is in favor. They think Bob Baffert is great for horse racing, recognizable, the sunglasses, the hair, and of course, all the winning horses. And what it'll do for the TV ratings. I know the TV ratings. I wouldn't really go by TV ratings because, like I said, they go up and down for the Derby. I'd be curious to see what they are this year, especially if Bob has at least one or more horses entered. Of course, that would be one of the storylines. And if somebody's a Bob Baffert, one of the haters out there, you'll probably turn the sound down on the TV when Bob comes up and they show that 10-15-minute 10-minute segment, whatever, when they review the trainers and his long road back and they'd cover that if he has an entry in here. So we'll wait and see how that goes. So personally, what's my opinion? I believe he is. I think it's great for horse racing that Bob Baffert is back. Makes it more interesting, and you get better horses in there too. I know last year some of his owners that had horses that would have been able to be in the Derby, they stuck by Bob. Will pass on the Derby, because we're behind you. You're our man. You're our man. And so we lost some of the better talent for the Derby last year, and that's not going to happen this year. But it kind of shows the loyalty some of these owners have for Bob. So this year looks like he's going to have at least one in there, maybe more. And we'll see Bob back, and we'll see what happens going forward. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know what you think. Bob Baffert returns to the Kentucky Derby. Is it good or bad for horse racing?